Hey everyone, it's Richie 3Jack here, doing another review for October 7th. Justin Timberlake Shriners Championship. Ryan Moore won that. It's his second tour victory, I think. Moore was one of my top 10 picks that I picked for the week. What I do is with those picks, I look at each course that they play on tour for the tournament, and I run a statistical, I crunch the numbers, and I look at what parts of the game, the tour, that course tends to favor, and then I come up with a formula, and I kind of look at the players that are in the field and determine, who the top players I will handicap for it. My number one handicap player was Chris Kirk. I think he finished in the top 20, and then Brendan DeYoung finished second, and he was also in my top 10 picks, and Ryan Moore won it. He was 14 to 1 odds. What we're seeing now on tour is you're seeing people are basically fighting for the last 10 spots on the top 125 list. My projections show number 125 will be at about $692,000 for the year. And I think Brian Gay is at 690. He's the closest that's under that amount. So if he wins about 10 grand, he probably should secure his card with that. The way it works now in the fall series is, let's say here's the top 125, here's number 125, you got people below it and you got people above it. So for every guy that's below that goes above after a tournament, that knocks somebody down. And so you're probably only going to see maybe 9 more spots filled. Part of the problem the guys are fighting for the card face is that they've got guys that, they're at 50 to 100. They've secured their card, and they're just playing because, they could always use the money, but they're playing against weaker fields, so it's kind of quote-unquote free money for them. So if you're a guy fighting for your card, you're going against some stiff competition for yourself because you haven't been playing that well, very well all year. Speaking of Vegas, we went into, I made a post on Trackman Maestro, a guy named Joe Mayo. He's a Vegas teacher who works at Grant Wake quite a bit. If you've seen his videos before. And he actually got a mention on the Golf Channel at the Timberlake Shriners Championship by Frank Nobilo about the D-plane and ball flight loss. The video that I posted up was the one he made showing Butch Harmon's personal swing and showing how Butch Harmon, even though he preaches having the golfer maintain their rear knee flex at the top of the swing, Butch Harmon's rear knee actually straightens at the top of the swing. I think people kind of get a little confused as far as what my opinion on that stuff is. While I generally prefer to see the rear knee flex straighten because it makes it a little easier to turn the hips, and it can also help with things like swing play and stuff like that. If you got a guy like Keegan Bradley, who's a terrific driver of the ball, he's ranked 10th in my driving effectiveness metric that I came up with. He's got his rear knee flex from the address position to the top of the swing. It's hard to fault a guy like that, and I wouldn't fault him. I'm just saying that I'm more interested, and I wish more analysts would be more interested in this, is just kind of looking at the swing in a general overview and how that swing affects, or how those pieces of the swing, how they affect one of each other. I kind of look at the swing kind of like a wavelength. I don't look at the backswing and separate it from the downswing. I just look at, okay, if I do something in the backswing, how does this affect the next part of the golf swing, and how does that affect the next part of the golf swing? And then if you total it all up and you look at it, and then you kind of try to see how it relates to how the golfer, what type of ball flight the golfer has, and how consistently they can generate that ball flight. I think that's a little more interesting than people that try to what happens is these analysts, and especially you know, there's plenty. I've been guilty of myself. Is that what happens is people start to detest things in the golf swing or knock things on the golf swing just because it doesn't hold up to their common theory or whatever they use in the golf swing as far as philosophy go. But you know, I mean, to me, you got for every Keegan Bradley, there's a Ben Hogan and a Sam Snead who clearly straighten the rear knee in the backswing. I would just rather see golf instructors kind of understand the total motion and analyze it and what goes on, and then try to look at things as right or wrong. Also went into the single length irons. So I can actually get quite a bit of questions about these because people are always trying to get some type of advantage, which, hey, I don't blame them at all. My problem with the single length irons, and I'm just spitballing some sort of criticism. I'm not totally sold on it because I haven't done the science. Is first of all, the main goal of the single length irons is try to get the golfer to have a set of clubs that they can swing the same. You know, they want to be able to swing the 3-iron the same as the pitching wedge. Problem is the attack angles change, and then you got to deal with bounce angles, and then if you deal with bounce angles, generally what happens is you kind of have to worry about the center of gravity of the club head, and then you got to worry about the weight of the club head. A lot of people don't understand is that the weight of the club head gets heavier as the loft of the club gets higher. So your 9-iron is going to weigh more than your 7-iron, which is going to weigh more than your 5-iron as far as the head. And with the single length irons, if you're trying to get the clubs to swing the same, you got to get the MOI to match. So you got to actually have each club head weigh the same because each shaft length is the same. Now, with companies, you know, that you usually see, like TaylorMade, Mizuno, Titleist, whatever, like I said, the higher the loft, the more the club head weighs. So what they're doing is, if I got this 7-iron, it's going to be shorter than the 6-iron, so I got to make this 7-iron heavier in club head. Now, when we get to MOI matching, something I've talked about, what we're doing first of all is we're measuring the moment of inertia of this entire club. Not just the club head, but the grip, the shaft, the ferrule, and the club head. And what that will do is that will measure essentially how much force is required to swing this club. And then when we do MOI fitting for a golfer, what we're trying to do is we're trying to match up the amount of force required to swing this club with the amount of force the golfer applies in their golf swing. And what you'll see is the face contact dispersion greatly improves when it's matched. I got the 7-iron that I had before I actually MOI matched it, and if you look, you'll see that the impact dispersion is, you know, it's quite a bit. It's probably about the size of half my thumb. But with a 6-iron, when I first built the 6-iron, I MOI matched it right away to the MOI that fitted me, and you see, I mean, the impact dispersion about the size of my thumbnail, maybe it's a little bit bigger than my fingernail, but still pretty good. Now, I think people get confused. You know, you're not going to have a 30 handicapper start swinging it like Ben Hogan in 1953, because I mean, first of all, if I hit a ball right on the money, and my club face is 10 degrees closed, well, the ball is going to start off way left. I'm probably going to snap hook it. It'll be a flush snap hook, but it'll be a snap hook nonetheless. And you know, it'll help with face contact from a horizontal standpoint instead of not so much from a vertical standpoint. So if you hit it thin, you're gonna, you know, you're still likelihood you'll hit it thin or maybe hit it a little high. but you'll decrease the amount of times you toe hook it, or or hit it off the heel. Let's see. Lastly, we went into Pro Golf Synopsis table of contents. I think people, I just want to give people a little overview of what to expect. A lot more information in there. The thing about the book is it's not just about PGA Tour analysis. It's also something that the golfer can use for their own game. There's parts of the game that apply to every golfer as far as a numbers perspective, but there's also parts of the game that definitely differ, whether how, depending on how well you play. I also did I got 6 essays that deal with statistics in golf, and not only are they interesting and informative, but you can also use them for your own benefit as well. I also sorry about that. I've been giving out free overviews, a statistical analysis of golfers on the U.S. PGA Tour, their game in 2012, and it has, it's very detailed, but it's also user friendly. Everybody I've given them out to has told me how they were impressed, not only how informative it was, but how user friendly and easy to understand it was. It's not an instructional overview. It's just, here's the hard numbers, and here's where the golfer, his strengths and weaknesses, where he can improve. And I've got regression analysis and other proprietary formulas that I've been using that can very accurately project the amount of cuts a golfer should make. And I can also project, if they improve in certain statistics, how that'll affect the cuts they make, and I can, with a fair amount of accuracy, get that down into earnings as well now. The only thing is that it's really only for guys that played on the PGA Tour in 2012, or their caddies, or their instructors. I'm not trying to be crude. The problem is that none of the other tours have the ShotLink data, so I can't really help anybody out that's not on tour or involved with the tour. If you're playing on the web.com tour and you're interested in it, I can give you a sample of an overview that I've done, and I can also give you some, answer any questions or give some, advice as far as the numbers part go. Or if you're on the European Tour, same thing, or even the LPGA. But unless you have ShotLink data, there's only so much I can do. But I definitely want to get it out there, and I really appreciate anybody who can put me in contact with anybody involved with a tour player or the tour player themselves. And like I said, it's actually in a Microsoft Excel file. It's about 10 pages long for each player, and like I said, very easy to read and very helpful for them. So, if anybody can put me in contact with them, that would be great as well. All right, well, until next week, I'll see you then.